Hi there, warriors, and welcome to this new live stream on the Uruguayan Heroes YouTube channel. And we just watched Uruguay lose to Iran, the first game that Diego Alonso has lost in charge of the Uruguay national team. And obviously, it's a shame. I wouldn't go to big conclusions because it can happen. Uruguay were a superior team on the ball, but created very little. Iran created two big chances from the counter attack, and Uruguay, certainly in the second goal, Sebastian Cáceres, in my opinion, was caught ball watching, lost the run of Taremi, who basically withdrew from his striker position a little bit, and opened himself up for a I would call a Jordi Alba cross, like Alba already always did to Messi. And then Taremi had the free shot, was deflected, it was a goal. It was unlucky, but also bad defending for me. But it can happen. Uruguay can also have a performance like this. Hopefully not that often, but yeah, it was a bit lackluster. So Uruguay just missed this cutting edge in the attacking area. Suarez, I didn't think he played really bad, but yeah, he certainly had a few chances, which Suarez in better condition or in better form, he would score that. Darwin on the left, I think Darwin from the left in certain playing styles is okay, but at this moment when he plays like this against a fullback who is also quick, also strong, like the Iranian right back was, it's difficult for him. Then you see he's not a pure winger. So yeah, and yeah, so let's have a look at your comments. So hopefully you are here and can see your comments in the comments here. But I also will have a look on Twitter and I will add this to the stream. What are your comments? Because it's always nice to see. Or at the moment they probably will not be that nice, but it's the way it is. So hopefully it can refresh so I can see them. Let's have a look. It cannot. That's always nice. Then I will do it like this. Okay. Let's have a look. This is Joe Yede. Nothing new. All yet again showing in their body language no coordination when a player receives and passes and looks up. So predictable all over the pitch, not just in the final third. What should we expect? They lack faith in cooperation because they don't know how to play as a team. I think that's a bit too harsh. I think we had certainly moves and between Bentancur and Valverde, and also with Matias Oliveira sometimes and De La Cruz, there were connections there. But when you look at the back line as it was currently composed, you have certainly in the second half or in the first half after Araujo went out, you have three players who never played together. And I'm talking about Rogel, Sebastian Cáceres, and Damian Suarez. So you have three players never playing together. That's not ideal. And then we have Vecino. Vecino is one of the midfielders who is not at the level of Valverde and Bentancur, not at the level to start consistently in the Uruguay national team. So you always have some inconsistency or lack of understanding in midfield when some players are not at the same level. So that's a shame. But the first thing I would like to say, and I said it as well at the start, let's really not go to conclusions because this is one game, which wasn't a good game for sure. But please, yeah, let's not jump to conclusions because that's just premature for me, in my opinion, anyway. Um, and then Miguel La Rosa, better here than in the World Cup. I hate that it happened against Iran the same week that they executed the women under the garbage Sharia law. And they ruined any atmosphere the game could have had. And honestly, everyone played like they didn't want to be there except De La Cruz. So I'm not going into this first comment, which obviously is another topic, which is very shameful and all what's going on. But the second comment you make, because of this, there are no fans. And yeah, it felt strange for me. It felt like watching a game in the COVID times, in the lockdown times, when you hear nothing. Basically, you hear all the coaches streaming their instructions, and you heard also some Iran fans. I didn't know where they came from, or maybe they were press from Iran who were cheering. I don't know. But yeah, it was a weird atmosphere for sure. It's not an excuse, to be honest, because yeah, Uruguay should have been better. Uruguay should have been more daring, more cutting edge. Uh, yeah, that's just the truth. And Iran, I didn't think Iran was that good defensively. To be honest, I will go back to the live stream by the way for a second. I I wouldn't say they are. I wouldn't say that Uruguay or that Iran played well or were defensively solid because we did cut them open a few times. So we did find solutions to their low block. But the thing is, um, when you have Darwin from the left and Pellistri from the right, was just really not playing well, really rusty, and hasn't played for like 2 or 3 months. You don't have like options on the wings who can bring your solutions with their individual action or with a run in behind. And then you have Vecino, who was basically doing nothing in midfield, and Suarez, who was also not on his game. So then it's really hard to play against a low block. But still, Uruguay find some solutions sometimes and manage to get a few chances, but it was just a little bit. Was too nice. Was too nice from Uruguay. It wasn't the intensity which we saw in the early games under Alonso in the qualifiers. Their intensity that wasn't there, and you can expect it maybe because it's a friendly, and this was a World Cup qualifier. You know, the first games, and this is a friendly, so you can expect the difference. But still, was not. It wasn't a performance which I think we would say we like. So yeah, let's have a look at the comments. Laburu says, "When we will grow up past being so predictable on the ball." Shake my head. I think we are better than what we were for sure, but I still get what you're saying. I think Bentancur is inventive on the ball a lot of the times. Valverde, we know Valverde. Valverde is great. Although I still think this game he could have been a bit more inventive with his passing, and also his running because obviously when you come up against a low block or which I think Iran played, it's gonna be hard to really make this penetrating runs to break lines. But still, Valverde, I didn't have one occasion when I didn't see one occasion where Valverde really tried to really force Iran back with his running, his powerful running, which he can. This it didn't do. That's a shame. Vecino, I don't think he is capable. Well, what I was about to say, I don't think he's capable of pulling off these inventive passes. But then I remember he had this beautiful assist for Lazio in the Europa League. But overall, this is not part of his game, and that's why I believe that today we should have played Ugarte or Torreira, and then Bentancur and Valverde, or maybe Bentancur and De La Cruz, Valverde on the right, or maybe Valverde and De La Cruz. But this was the way to go. And then he played Vecino, which meant that Bentancur was like the mostly the lone CDM, or sometimes with Vecino, which he can play when he plays against a low block, but it's not his ideal position. That's not his ideal position for me. He should be playing next to another controlling midfielder, and then you get the best out of Bentancur because he's more free of his defensive responsibilities, and you get Bentancur who is even better than he was today because he was really good, but yeah, that's my opinion anyway. Jorge Cepero says Damian Suarez was disappointing. I believe so as well. I think this first off he did okay. Second off he really was disappointing, and yeah, but yeah, like I say, I think I still think he's a good player, and still think should be part of our World Cup squad. But he was disappointing today, that's for sure. Godin's pockets. Nobody's been in there for a while, to be honest, but good username anyway. Uh, it is absurd to me that Vecino is still starting. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've had this discussion a lot of the times, or if people on here, and I recognize already the names, have been there more often, then we've had this discussion many times. Vecino is not Uruguay quality. Okay, call him up to the national team because he's a part of our national team and he's been there for quite a long time. That's okay. I mean, I get along with this argument, but he's not the starter anymore. And certainly not when you have Ugarte, who's doing so well in Portugal. When you have Torreira, who's a much better CDM than than Vecino, or you have, for example, De La Cruz, who can play as one of the two advanced central midfielders. Or you have Darascaeta, who can also play on midfield. So many options, and Vecino is not the option anymore. And I mean, Alonso has a lot of credit in the bank because he's got us to the World Cup. He's improved this massively. He brought some young players, and gave them chances. So we are never gonna turn on Alonso for this at the moment. But it still is disappointing to see Vecino play, um, and others being ignored. And it's also disappointing for me when I see Matias Vinha coming on, who's played 45 minutes all season. For God's sake, call up Piqueres or Espino, players playing week in week out on a better level. At the moment, a better player than Vinha. I don't get that, but that's not an important issue at the moment. But I was really surprised to see that, and that's just a shame in my opinion. Jorge Cepero says Vecino was not awful, but not good. Why doesn't Ugarte play? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know why Ugarte didn't play. And yeah, Vecino wasn't maybe awful, but you know what? Vecino is never like good, like amazing or impressive. He's never. He's if his high is his ceiling for Uruguay is a 6 or 7, and that happens not that often anymore. It happened in the first days of his career in Uruguay, 2016, 17, 18, but since 2019, I would say no. Vecino has hardly had a good game, and this was maybe a 4 or a 5, but that's not good enough for me. Certainly not when you are the team who has the most possession in a game like this. You want your midfielders to create, to be important, to be. And also Valverde didn't, for me, have a really good game either. But Valverde, we know what he is. We know what he can be. Vertino, that's a completely different case. Flawless says, I think it shows that other teams are way more prepared and have way more practice than Uruguay. I have my hopes up for Alonso, but it seems like he's following Tavares' steps. Well, I think you're going a bit too far because you have to realize that this is the first loss in Alonso's era. He's delivered really good performances with this team in important games. So yeah, no, not everything is sunshine, and there will be some bumps on the road. But Alonso's doing well, and he has prepared this team well, reasonably okay for me. Today, it was another game which was easy on the eye, not a game that which saw us play brilliant football or create many chances. We did play okay on certain occasions, on certain moments of the game, but it was just a game that was just a bit lethargic. You have these games, but what happens is that Iran has 1 or 2 chances, and the second one they take with a little bit of deflection and a personal error of Caceres, who loses his runner. That's not Alonso's mistake, obviously, because Uruguay, for the most of the game, were on top. Were recycling possession quite fast. I'm not saying they played well, but we were the better team for sure. So I wouldn't go too hard on Alonso, other than going in on him for playing Vecino over Ugarte or Torreira. That's what I do not get. Jorge Sabero says, "Do you think Louis should be in the starting 11?" I'm starting to think he should come off the bench. Well, that's a good question because I think we all have this question a little bit. I think Suarez didn't play bad, but like I said before, if he was playing in a better, if he plays at a better level, if he is in better form, he would certainly have scored a goal today because he had 3 or 4 half chances, not big chances, but chances when he came or when he arrived at the penalty box at the top at the how do you say, like at the 16-yard line, and or 18-yard line, and he really, well, he pulled off a shot, or he played sideways, but the Suarez in top condition buries it, buries that. So yeah, but yeah, maybe I think he probably will start from the bench in the upcoming game, which probably should be okay for me, because that's a reality. He's 35 now, playing for Nacional. We have to temper our expectations as well with Suarez, because although I love him like no other footballer, Suarez is 35, and with one knee, well, pretty knackered, to be honest. So yeah. Abimanju Vijay, thanks for being here all, by the way. Really good and nice to see you again. Or if I see you for the first time here, that's also great. Please leave a like on the video. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. I think we are a little bit over 800. Would be great if we could somehow find 1,000 subscribers at the World Cup, when the World Cup is going on, or maybe before, who knows. That would be great. But thank you for being here, and thank you for the questions as well, or the opinions, which are more valuable than mine for sure. So, okay, Abimanju says, as a Chelsea fan, I thought Uruguay played very similar to what we've been playing the past few weeks. Yeah, so I'm not watching Chelsea every week, but I can understand what you're saying. No real cutting edge, a bit blasé, I would say. I'm not sure if this is properly an English word, but it is in my language anyway. But a bit, no spices, no. We were eating a pasta, but we were lacking a little bit of pepper or some salt or another spice. was just bland, and it didn't do the job. You ate the pasta, and 2 hours later you go in the fridge looking for something else because you're not satisfied yet, and that's where we are now. Probably I'm going to drink some beers probably now because I'm not left satisfied by this game. So, but I think that's the way it is. Yeah, yeah. Was a bit frustrating to watch this game for sure. Godin's Pocket says, I agree with Abimanju. This felt like one of Tuchel's lackluster games where we have all the possession and cannot do anything with it. Yeah, yes, I think that you put it really well. Both of you do for sure. Danny F. Good cheer, man. Sebastian Caceres needs to F off back to Mexico. He's so crap. I mean, he made a mistake for sure. I didn't think he was crap. I think certainly his passing, he's a really good center back when it comes to his passing. He's calm on the ball, but defensively, yeah, he's not at the level of a starter for Uruguay at the moment. And he's not, obviously, because he's there because Araujo, Coates, and Jimenez are all injured, which is also pretty worrying, to be honest. But yeah, we have come accustomed to this because it's happened more often than it should probably. Um, but yeah, no, he's not starter material, but he's not a bad player for sure. I don't agree with this. Although the mistake was a bit juvenile, I would say. Yeah, and then Jorge Cepero, yeah, our center backs are made of glass. Well, there's no mistake or there's no fault about that statement. Yeah, that's the way it is, and hopefully it won't be the case for the World Cup because yeah, that's gonna be a big problem. And yeah, we just have to see how it develops. I mean, Jimenez is already training with Atletico at the moment, so he's expected to be back soon. But the thing is with Jimenez, you never get your hopes up anymore because he can be back, but the game afterwards. Well, what can we do? he can easily get off injured again and be out for 6 weeks. Araujo and Coates is a different story. Araujo, he's also had some history with injuries, but overall, Araujo is less injury prone than Jimenez. But his injury today was just really unlucky, and hopefully it's all proven to be okay, and it's just minor. Coates, I'm not worried. He hasn't really got a problem with injuries, and he's also not out for a long time. So at least two of these three have to be fit for me in the World Cup because these are our three best centre backs at the moment. And I think either one of the three are good enough to start for Uruguay. So that's a luxury as well. You have to realize because they are all three quality centre backs who are doing well in that team. So being well, Quats is the captain. Araujo is probably the best defender of Barca. Jimenez is probably the best defender with Savic of Atletico. So that's good options. But when you go further, you have Rogel, who I think did okay today. Cáceres was unlucky for sure. Didn't do it. Well, he had a mistake which led to a goal. That's never good. Cabrera, I would love to see him against Canada because I think he's a really good player. And you have Godin, obviously, who, yeah, the jury is out on Godin if we're going to call him up to the World Cup or not. Many think he should not be there. Many think he should be there because he's the captain. I happen to be in the second camp. I don't think he should be playing. But when you have 26 options to go to the World Cup, 26 players, I think you can call up Godin for sure. But yeah, that's just we will see how that turns out. Nacho says, I think we're missing Nandes. He was our solution to the right back. Well, the thing is, Nandes was a really good right back, certainly when it came to these games where Uruguay were more on the offensive and when he had more freedom to play. Because when he came up against top wingers, he's going to struggle. I mean, I remember him going up against Rafinha or Vinicius or Neymar, one of these three anyway, or maybe all three, who like change positions all the time. When we come up against Brazil in the latter stages of 2021, and he was murdered, to be honest. But when Nandes, the situation with him, with the accusations of his wife, the fact that he plays in the Serie B right now with Cagliari, these are things that not play to his favor or not to his advantage. I mean, so yeah, we just have to find out what's gonna happen. I think Varela is a decent player, and when it comes to physicality in terms of his speed, his agility, he's probably at the moment better than Varela because Varela is getting a little bit older. But he's not playing for Flamengo at the moment, Varela. So there's also a concern. So the right back is one of these positions in our team which are not really settled yet, and that's something we yeah, people have many decisions on this, or on certain player who should play or not, and it's up to Alonso to make it. But at the moment, he hasn't made the right decisions yet, in my opinion, with Vecino and with Vecino for sure, and also I think with Pellistri straight into the starting 11. You know what? I know he likes him, but it almost seems like he's now coming to the Uruguay duty to get match rhythm. But that's like that's a, I mean, that's not right. I mean, Uruguay should obviously be a platform for you to come after you perform for your team. And I know he's been injured, but it's kind of strange to see him play no minute all season through injury, and then the time he gets fit, which accidentally coincided with the international duty, he immediately comes into the starting 11 of Uruguay. That's a bit strange, obviously, and you could see it. He was not match fit. He was sloppy, gave away passes, was unaware of the players around him, bumped into players, all these kind of things, which are really characteristic of players who have not played all season and who lack match rhythm. So yeah, but okay, we will see. Maybe there will be some changes against us, against the Canada. I hope so. Anyway, yeah, okay. Then you have Katja shouldn't be even on the roster. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can argue. There are other options. You can have Bruno Mendes, for example. So yeah, but he was there, and he got a chance, and he made the mistake. That's what we can say about him. But there's no reason to roast him or to go after him, because yeah, I don't think he deserves it. Flawless says, I can't understand how you put Ficino or De La Cruz before Dalsqueta. He should be the one starting. Well, De La Cruz I can understand, but Ficino I cannot either. No, but the thing is, I think Dalsqueta, although Uruguay's vice president, or the vice president of the Uruguayan Football Association, said that it was a technical decision from Alonso to not put in Dalsqueta as a starter, but I'm pretty sure it's because of a minor niggle, minor injury, or minor overload, which is what I would say, because, well, the physiotherapist of Dalsqueta from Flamengo already said that Arteta is currently playing with pain, and he's playing with an overload of work, too many minutes, and then that this catch, and his body is reacting to this not in the best way. So that's probably why he wasn't starting. So yeah, but still, even if he was fit, he probably still wouldn't have started, and Ficino would have, which is not good for sure. Nacho says Alonso has to play the younger guys that are hungry for a spot. No point in playing the older guys in games like this. Satriano's 0 minutes today is terrible. Yeah, I think, yeah, Satriano for sure. I think around the 60-minute mark, I thought, well, get Satriano on. Play two up top or get Suarez off. Just do it, because why not? And the same with Ugarte for Vecino or Toledo for Vecino. But yeah, Alonso didn't, and he will have his reasons for it. But I didn't like it either, because I would have loved to see Satriano debut today, and maybe it will happen against Canada. But I thought today was a good occasion to do it. Yeah, for sure. Because Suarez, you know what? Like I said, he did. I think he didn't have a bad game, but it wasn't working for him. It wasn't his day in terms of. Suarez is a player when it is his day. These stupid things he tries to go. They work. They result in a goal or an assist or something else, which is positive. And you could see it was not Suarez's day. So why not just make this up then? I don't know. I don't understand this either. But he didn't. So that's a shame. But yeah. Okay. Then he says Satriano and Nunez start versus Canada. Let's see. Would be nice to see, to be honest. I will go to Twitter to see some more comments of you guys, or maybe not from you, but others. Anyway, we're gonna have a look. So this is already the hot takes. Huh? Already the hot takes. Okay. This first, Alonso has not faced anyone serious yet. The flaws are becoming evident. Wait until we face a top 10 team. I hope I'm wrong. Then South American qualifying was a joke outside of Argentina and Brazil. Top 30 team will embarrass the squad. And then Ivan comes back, even though he's put a shot into Uruguay and Alonso. Let's not be rash. And then this guy says, this squad doesn't make it out of the group stages. I'm certain of that. Too many issues with the selection. No, I don't agree with it. I think we will make it out of the group stages, because You know what? The thing we also know ourselves that this is a game which Uruguay plays, and it's continually played games like this throughout the history of what I've seen anyway. Plays these games completely lackluster, not working, and when you put this on in a World Cup stage game or in a Copa America game, but mostly World Cup because that's basically the high stage, the biggest stage, then Uruguay is just a different animal. I'm not saying they are almost like another team, but they are more fierce and they get results out of these games. Might not be the most pleasing on the eye, but it's a real different. I don't think you can expect this kind of performance in a World Cup, and I also don't think you should draw too many conclusions out of this game. That's just nonsensical in my opinion. And what the guy said there on a Twitter conversation between two Uruguay fans, or I think so anyway. That Uruguay haven't played strong opposition yet. That's true. Okay, that's true. We haven't played big teams yet. No, that's true. But what we have done is develop, well, more of a modern playing style, way more intense, defensively more solid, stronger from free kicks and from corners, stronger from set pieces. That is really the case. And we have a squad with options, with depth, and this for me are things which are in improvement. Whether it will be in a big improvement, whether it's good enough for us to be challenging in the World Cup, we will have to see. I think we can. Some people will think we can't, but that we will see in 2 months if this is the case. But let's not draw too many conclusions on a game. Let's not do this. You know what? When Tabres was in charge, and Tabres has been there for like, what's it, 14 years, 15 years. You can draw to conclusions. You can come to conclusions because you were seeing a pattern over the progress, or over the years, over many years. You can see it. Alonso is there. What is he? 5 months, 6 months. He's won basically every game. I think he drew 2 games, and this is his first loss. Let's be easy. Let's honestly let's calm down. Because it's not that bad. It's not that bad, really. It's not, in my opinion, anyway. Lisa, hi there, Lisa. Good to see you here. In the current form, Canada is the best team we'll face since Alonso took over. Should Alonso play to win or take one last chance to experiment before the World Cup? Yeah, I mean, I think he will experiment with some players, but he also will have a strong foundation in his team. You know what? On the top of my head, what I will go for in the game against Canada is I would go for Muslera, or sorry, Rochette. No, not that. I think Muslera you can play, maybe he will do it, by the way. But Rochette is our number one goalkeeper, and there's no reason to change goalkeepers. So Rochette, Damian Suarez, Leandro Cabrera, Rogel, who I believe played okay today, to be honest. Oliveira. Then I would play midfield, probably Ugarte, Bentancur, De La Cruz, Valverde or Campo. I find it. I might leave Valverde out, to be honest, because yeah, I might do that because I want to see De La Cruz in the right central midfielder role, but I also would like to see a player like Ocampo and Canobio get a chance. Striker, I would have Satriano or Darwin, but I would like to see Satriano, to be honest. But maybe Darwin and Satriano coming on, and from the left, Arrascaeta as like a roaming winger or inverted winger. That's what I would do. So it's still a strong team, but players like Ugarte, Rogel, who played, like I said, okay today, should play because we have no other options basically. Well, we can play Caceres, but I like Rogel better. Cabrera, who deserves it for me. Varela should get a chance, and then the right wing, De La Cruz, Tarasqueta. These were all a little bit of a mix-up compared to today's game, or a little bit of a difference, but still a team that's strong enough, and which should do well against Canada. And I echo your thoughts on Canada because I think they're an interesting team. That could do well in the World Cup, to be honest. Not like winning or anything, but get out of the group, or maybe make a run into the quarterfinals, something like this. Although I don't, to be honest, I don't know what their group is, so maybe I'm just being a bit too optimistic right there. But okay. Jason Knight says, I thought we weren't that bad considering that 3 out of our 4 defenders aren't starters. Still, though, very concerning result. Well, losing is always a shame. And is it concerning? I don't know. I don't think so anyway. But I think you're right in mentioning defenders. We missed after 1 minute. We were playing with 3 defenders who never played together. And even though this was the case, defensively we weren't that bad. We were well, the thing was we were basically doing well in recycling possession higher up on the pitch. So defensively we didn't come under much pressure. And we did come 2 times and they had 2 big chances. So you could say that we were a bit fragile. But yeah, that is also to be expected when you have 3 players who never really played together in one back line. That's gonna be hard. Uh, Jason says Portugal are gonna have a field day though. No, I don't think so. I really don't think so. No, I don't think so. Because Portugal's not isn't Portugal. That's the thing. I used to think that as well, but recently I watched some Portugal games in the build up to the Euros. It's such a misfunctioning team. It's really like we were on the Tabares. Really, really the case. I'm not afraid of Portugal, to be honest, and that's very rich after losing to Iran. With all respect to Iran, but still, I mean, we all know Uruguay's not the same in a friendly like this compared to a World Cup game. I mean, it's just not the case. So I'm still positive. Yeah, for sure I am. Yeah, flawless. Yeah, just mention mine, but you can also have a go. At what would yours be? I would like to know from you, flawless, and anyone else who likes to put it there. Farid, stopping by to say hi. Currently at work. Okay, Farid, good to see you here, man. And hopefully, well, I don't know how long you have to work yet, still, but hopefully you're off work soon and can enjoy your weekend. But take care, buddy. Um, Underdog says Nunez needs a goal for Uruguay to help confidence. Hopefully versus Canada. Yeah, I agree. I agree. He needs that goal. I mean, for many reasons, but he needs the goal maybe for his Uruguay career to get a lift off, basically. And he scored his goal on his debut against Peru, like 5 minutes into the game. It was a cross from Matias Vinha, I recall. It was a nice goal. And since then, he scored against Colombia once, good goal. And I think he might have scored another one. But yeah, that's 2 or 3 goals in 15 games. And we have to remember, or 15 is maybe 12 or 13. But we have to remember he plays many games from the substitute bench and he plays also many games from the wing. But still, a goal would be nice for him to have some confidence coming back to Liverpool and also, well, feeling a bit more settled in the national team. But yeah, that's goals are not easy to come by when we play with a lack of invention and a lack of well, yeah, lack of willingness to commit forward to take really risks. That is something which lacked a little bit today, taking risks, and that's a player like Darasqueta or De La Cruz as well, and Bentancur also, to be honest. But De La Cruz and Darasqueta are really these players who obviously play between midfield and attack, these hooks and ganches. So these are players which you miss if they're not playing, because yeah, that's the creative link in the team. And obviously creation or creativeness can also come from deeper on the pitch. But yeah, it helps when you have a number 10 or a winger who is really capable of creating something out of nothing. So yeah, Abimanju says Uruguay gonna have problems dealing with Alfonso Davies. Well, yeah, if we play with this lineup, yeah, for sure we have. But we have to remember, if Araujo's playing at right back or even center back with Valverde on the right side, we are okay. Alfonso Davies is a good player. Don't get that wrong, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we will be okay. So let's have a look. I'm gonna have a look at Twitter. Maybe some people with some, because it's better if we do via Twitter, because I can see it quicker than on the stream. So thanks for being here, by the way. Hopefully you have something else planned today or tomorrow. A nice thing, because if this is gonna be the only thing you're doing today, which is also okay, by the way. Yes, well, but it's not the nicest day, right? When Uruguay loses, it's never a nice day. But yeah, Jorge says, I'm starting to believe the people who say Uruguay are going for a vacation instead of competing if they keep playing the old generation from the start. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but we have to remember though. I mean, from the old generation, who started today? Suarez, yeah, for sure, and Vecino. That's it. Damian is not the old generation in terms of he's not from like the old boys of Tavares, or yeah. So what Damian is there because he deserves it. He didn't play well today, but he's not a bad player for sure. He's not. Vecino, yeah, we all know he shouldn't be starting. And Suarez, I mean, he's the captain when Godin is away, and he is still on number 9. So that he plays today, I wasn't surprised. I was surprised that he played all game because that was a bit too much for me. But I think we are okay. I mean, this happens. It just does. That's the way it is. I mean, and it's not nice, and how do you say, it exposes some things which are problematic, like the starting Vecino constantly, like maybe Darasqueta not playing, um, like maybe Darwin from the left, like maybe Pelistri was not having any match rhythm. So it exposes a little bit of some problems, but there's no reason to go in panic mode. Absolutely not, absolutely not, because that's just for me. Um, yeah, it's not no need for it. But I get what you're saying though. Um, yeah, I get what you're saying because it's never nice, and you see things happening which you're seeing happening more. Well, you see it a lot, like Vecino starting, or maybe Suarez playing all game when he's not effective, and it bothers you. But I think Alonso is wise enough to not be stubborn. That's maybe a wrong, maybe a weird quote or a weird way to say it, but he's not like what with Tabares, it was like he was getting to a point when he was so stubborn that he did things which were to wrong. Um, Cognitive dissonance is what you call it, I think. So he knows it was wrong. He knows it was not good for the good of Uruguay, for the player, for our being effective, for winning games. But he did it because it helped to him to win his argument, to keep them in, that he was right. But it wasn't right because we were playing bad. But he wanted to keep them in because it was some kind of ego game with Tavares, and it really was, to be honest. And with Alonso, I don't think that is going on. I mean, I really don't think. I mean, I think he likes Vecino, but he also said he liked Maxi Gomez a couple of months ago. But he's not in the squad right now, which is the wise decision. So yeah. Um, Okay. Jorge Cepero says Godin marking Son. Well, let's hope we are not gonna see this. And you also say I love Suarez, but I think he slows the team down. Um, you know what? I think at Nacional, he comes a lot into ask for the ball in possession, distribute the ball a little bit. But at Nacional, it's obviously at the lower level, and he can do this easier. But I think when he plays for Uruguay, I agree with you that certainly he used to be really brilliant at this, dropping deeper, playing full on, interacting with players. Maybe giving an assist, a through ball, or a long pass. He was really good at this, but now it's not his strength anymore. So at Uruguay, yeah, he would be better if he was more focused on this number 9 position and really focusing on making the runs, making these smart runs in the box, and leaving this association game and coming to the ball for a player like Dallas Quieta if he plays. So yeah, I agree with you on this one. Um, is Rochet's Ivan says, is Rochet's distribution a problem? Well, we I remember in the games in the qualifiers, he did really well, but his distribution was not the best. I think in this friendly it was okay. He wasn't called to do much in terms of distribution this game, but yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's a problem. No, I'm not sure. But you know what? You also have to realize, obviously, Uruguay want to play football, want to make or have initiative, but Uruguay is never going to be Spain or something like this. So um, it's not like it's going to be one of his main tasks. And certainly with a player like Cavani or Darwin, and Suarez as well, but mainly Darwin and Cavani, there's still this option of going long and then boom, going up for it with likes of Valverde, De La Cruz, really going, pressing intense high up their pitch, which is also a really feasible option for this team to consider. But yeah, might prove to be a problem. But you have to realize what are the other options at the moment. Is there anyone who is so much better with his distribution and also at the same level of Rochette when it comes to, well, basically goalkeeping? For me, there's none. There might be in 2 years if Franco Israel develops well, but it's not obvious to me at the moment. Um, Juan Frosta says, I missed the game because of work. That's a shame, man. Well, you didn't miss much, though, but it's a shame anyway. Hopefully, yeah, you had a nice work day anyway. Leo says, any news with Arajo? No, not yet. I can have a look, by the way. Maybe there is some post, maybe from Uruguay itself. I don't know. I just hope it's okay, because that's the least we can have. A player like Arajo maybe being out for 4 months and missing the World Cup. I mean, the thought of that alone is just killing me, to be honest, at the moment. Just so I will have a look quickly. Let's have a look if maybe probably some Barcelona outlet has some info already. Let's hope it's not the case. Um, okay, I want to go into another comment. Um, Okay, no, so no info on it yet. I have the same jersey, David. Okay, yeah, this one. Yeah, I mean 2014. I love this one. I mean, to be honest, I love the home kit which we have at this moment as well. But this one is just brilliant. Yeah, I really love that one. My favorite one, to be honest, probably. Well, in the World Cups, I followed it anyway, so this is my favorite one. But maybe this one can top it. I will buy it soon, but it's not really accessible in Europe, to be honest. So you have some stores, but um, but it's really, yeah, it's not really accessible, to be honest. Okay. Oh, sorry. This GGG, well, GG, like you said, and what people don't see, don't understand. Uruguay under pressure in the World Cup is a different animal. Hopefully, Alonso experiments. At least he can. Sorry, I'm really losing my pronunciation at the moment. Hopefully, Alonso experiments and at least learns that he can't start Fino and Vecino. Yeah, well, I agree with the second part for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think we all have learned this over the last few months. And Vinya may turn out to be a really good player at Roma or at another club and come back and be our starting left back. But that's not what we are worrying about now. That's the thing, never look at a player for your national team and think about potential. Think about now, right now. That's why I would like Espino over Fina. Because Espino, although he's 33, is a better player right now. He deserves to be in our squad. He deserves to go to the World Cup instead of Fina. But Fina is there because obviously he has this history in the national youth teams. Well, he's playing in Roma, which obviously is a better team than Cadiz, although I don't think this is a major reason. But he's also been there before. Still pretty young with some potential. Um, but I don't think he's better than Espino, and I also don't think that. I also do think that Espino has similar characteristics of as Oliveira. So in that sense, he also is a good fit because we all know Alonso is really big on the characteristics of players. That's why he basically ignored Facundo Torres this international break. So I don't get that, to be honest. But yeah, I mean that's the way it is apparently. But it is sometimes frustrating. Hopefully he learns from it because it's not an easy job to manage a football team or manage a national team. It is not, no, for sure, and certainly not when you have come into a dressing room with a certain hierarchy, with certain players who are accepted in this group, are yeah, are really playing part in this group, not only in a footballing sense but also in the well in the environment in this group. That's not easy, but still, it's decision has to be made. You know what? The fact that Martin Cáceres is on the squad is just atrocious, to be honest. That's just really bad. I mean, come on, that's just really yeah. I don't get that. But okay, Rodrigo Ayala says Ugarte needs to be in the 11. I agree. I think he deserves to start next game. You know what? I was talking just a moment ago about Espino. Ugarte, although he's just 20 or 21, 20 or 21, anyway, one of these two, he is at the moment playing really well. Played two outstanding games in the Champions League. Um, so yeah, that's really what we focus on for sure. Juan Froste says pros and cons from the game. That's, I mean, maybe you can come up with these pros and cons. because well, I've already talked a lot about what I liked and didn't like. You also, by the way. But really, let me know what were your. Let's start with the positive. What were your pros this game? What did you like? What did you see and think? Okay, that's something positive to take into the next game. We also can focus on that. I know it's not a lot, but which player did you like? What was your opinion about Agustin Rogel? What do you think of his performance? I liked it, to be honest. Yeah, these things. What was a player who surprised you? Okay, Juan Froster with another comment. It says Facchino is starting is the true definition of this game. Yeah, that's quite right, to be honest. Flawless with probably think this is your team against Canada. He says Rochette, Oliveira, Leo Cabrera, Rogel, Varela, Bentancur, Torreira, Valverde, Tarasqueta, Darwin, and Satriano. I could really go with that. I would probably Ugarte slightly over Torreira, but yeah, if you play this in a 4-3-1-2 maybe or a 4-3-3 or any way there are more formations you can play with this, then I really would like it. Yeah, for sure. GG, you are continuing on what I think is my comment that Uruguay in a World Cup is just different. You know, we can have these games which make you think, what are we gonna do with the World Cup? And then you come into the World Cup and you raise your level, or maybe not raise your level, but you just get stuck into games and keep getting results because Uruguay is a country with an history, tradition in the World Cup, and for example, South Korea is not particularly, although they've been there a lot over the years. To be honest, well, maybe I'm mistaken. They are there a lot. To be honest, there are most editions they are there, but they're not. They are obviously not going to the knockout phases a lot. Ghana, I think they were in 2014, not in 2018, and also not particularly successful in 2010, as we remember. So, although they were pretty successful, but yeah, Suarez needed to stop this. Okay, let's move on. So yeah, it's almost part of our history. Losing easy games and outperforming under pressure. Only things is certain is a roller coaster, right between frustration and pure bliss. Yeah, that's the thing. And with Alonso, we hope that maybe this could be over. Maybe the suffering, maybe that could maybe come to an end a little bit, and we were more the protagonists, and yeah, having a bit more of an easy ride. But yeah, it might not be the case. It might be too deeply rooted into the to the DNA of the Uruguay national team, which in some certain way is also pretty beautiful, but it's not helpful for your stress levels. No, not for sure. Um, Abi Manchu says, bring back Forlan. Maybe he can inject some creativity. Yeah, I mean, I would love him to be 29 again and be there, but yeah, we have enough creativity with the players like De La Schietta, Vecino, even Bentancur, or I said Vecino, sorry, I meant De La Cruz, even Bentancur, and also players like Ocampo is if he's on his game, and Suarez can also be really creative. So we are okay for this, you know, we are okay with the options we have for sure. Santiago Magari says El Soro played so bad. Yeah, second half he really did play bad. Yeah, Bentancur, Valverde, and Darwin are the future and present we need. Yeah, of course, these are the new stars. You know, with Arajo as well. These are currently our most our brightest lights in in Uruguay football. So yeah, that's what we have to build on. Then you have no. I also don't know, bro. I mean, why was Vina subbed on? I don't get it either. Flawless says Brazil are one up against Ghana. Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, that's gonna happen, obviously. Brazil are Brazil. Danny F says Torres wouldn't do anything. He plays in MLS. Just look at Cáceres, who plays in Mexico. They won't be at the level needed. But you know what? The thing is, it's not necessarily the truth because you can play in a league like the Mexican league or the league of USA, MLS, doesn't mean you have to be a bad player or that you cannot perform for the national team. There are certainly examples that this is not the truth. I remember Arafaro Rios. I think he was playing in Mexico or he was just playing in Peñarol. Anyway, he came to the World Cup in 2010 and he was really did so well. And that's continually been the case with certain Uruguayan players. So that's Varela. I think he played for Peñarol. I think he played Peñarol. And he went to the World Cup. He didn't play a lot, to be honest, so that's maybe a bad example. But it happens that players can also perform on a level like the national team if they are playing in minor leagues. That happens, for sure does. And I think with, for example, Facundo Torres or with Leo Fernandez, although it might be a bit too early, we have players who also are capable of this. So that's not, for me. It doesn't show it's the truth. I mean, Brian Rodriguez, I know in the last 2 or 1.5 year or 1.5 year, it's not been as great. But when he came onto the scene for Uruguay, when he was playing, I think it was for Peñarol and then LAFC. I think maybe he debuted in his first game for Uruguay. He was still playing for Peñarol, and then he went to LAFC. For Uruguay, he played brilliantly in his first 5 games. First 5, 6 games against decent opposition. He played really well. So it's not, there's not a relation between the league you play in and how good you can play for the national team necessarily. I mean, it helps because the level or the league you play in says something about the level you are as a player, but it's not all it's not all clear. It's not like yeah. Well, I think I made my point. Um, GGG. If you tell me which jersey you want, I'll ship one out to you. No, man, that's really kind of you, but no, that's too kind, basically. I really appreciate it, but I will buy one myself. But I really appreciate your gesture, and it's really, really, really nice of you. But that's okay, man. Um, House of Scare says Torres is arguably the best player in the MLS at 22 years old. Laudero has been playing in the MLS for ages, and he had his good games in the past. Torreira is a top five league level player. I'm not surely what you want trying to say, but you probably mean that you probably try to say that players in the MLS are still good enough to play for national teams like Uruguay, and that, like I said before a couple of moments ago, that I agree with. I mean, yeah, that's I agree with that for sure. Jorge says, I hope 72 years of hurts end in December, but this result really lowers morale. Yeah, it's you know what, Jorge, from your comments, and I really appreciate your comments, by the way, as always. But I sense that you are disappointed, and I understand this. When Uruguay lose, I'm also disappointed. What I would say to you, and please do whatever you want with it. Forget it, remember it. It's okay anyway. What I would say is that don't take this result or this performance and make too much of it, because I think we are okay at the moment. This happens. We played a game in which we were better than Iran. Iran had one or two breaks in which one of these we made a mistake defensively. They pounced on it with a deflection as well, and they scored late on in the game. But it's this happens. This happens. Was a lethargic game from Uruguay's side. So yeah, Daniel says Tuarez is finished. Danny, I mean, I really love your comments always, and I love your support and like all of your support for the channel. But I always know when after a game we lose or when something goes bad, you are just going for players, just always. And for me, it's okay because I don't mind it. But we know Suarez is not what he was, but finished, that's a bit too harsh. Um, Jorge says this was Pelistri's worst performance so far for the national team. Yeah, that's true. I think we can all agree on this. I think his first game against was it no not Peru? I think it was, or anyway, it was an away game, maybe against Paraguay. I think it was Paraguay, yeah. And he was subbed off in the second half, and he he did okay, but he wasn't good. He wasn't like exceptional. And then the home game against Venezuela, he played really well, and then he really gained trust and played really well with Uruguay. But this game for sure was the worst game for Uruguay from Palisti. But it's okay. It's okay. It can happen. A young player with no match rhythm. Then he says Aravalo Rios was at Peñarol. Yeah, okay, Peñarol. Yeah, he was at Peñarol when he came into the World Cup squad in 2010. Mehran M says Uruguay has the same problem Iran has. Great players, great team, but the transition to forward is the problem. It was definitely a great game for both teams to build on. Yeah, I think you make a good point. We missed this creative link between midfield and attack to make this transition happen. Um, yes, that's the case. I think this is the case. So yeah. So I'm gonna go to the final comments and then I'm gonna hop off and because already going for almost an hour. But I really appreciate all of your comments and your support. Always do. Although hopefully against Canada we can have maybe a bit more of a positive chat, seeing goals as well, because in these friendly games, whether we draw, lose, or win, which obviously we always would like to win, what you would hope is see some goals. But we didn't see any, which is a shame. So yeah, last few comments I will go into. Abimanchu says Uruguay missing their star El Matador. Well, I would always would love to see El Matador in the sky blue. I don't think we really missed him, but I get what you're saying. Player like this, you always miss a little bit. You always miss to a certain extent because he's a special player. Special player. Okay, well maybe he's better. He's better as a bench option, and to a certain extent I would agree because you also saw it for Atletico in his last season there that when Suarez comes up against tired defenses and he is full of energy still, although we all know he's not physically capable as he was like 6 7 years ago. Um, he really has some more space, some more he can work. He can be more effective because of the defense of the opponents being tired out a little bit, and maybe having a lapse of concentration because of this. So yeah, that is true, but that's a hard thing to do with a player like Suarez because we all know he cannot stand sitting on the bench, and that's not a reason to not do it, to not bench him, but not an easy decision to make. Uh, House of Scare says, I hope that Darwin can score versus Canada and regain some confidence. He's not been in the best of form and has a lot of pressure. He needs a break. I also hope that Arajo isn't too hurt. We need him. Yeah, both points you make, I couldn't agree with more. Darwin needs a goal, whether it be for Liverpool or Uruguay. Hopefully for Liverpool or for Uruguay first, and then come into Liverpool again and really get going. Get the season going because it's been unlucky because of the red card for sure, and because of the level Liverpool have this season, at the moment. So yeah, he really needs to kickstart the season to properly prepare him for the World Cup. And Arajo, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna hop onto Twitter in a minute and look at some or on the internet anyway to look at some news of this. Hopefully it's okay. Hopefully it's not too bad because yeah, um, we cannot have this. We cannot miss a big player for the World Cup. It would be just such a shame. So yeah, okay, guys. Um, okay, let's have the last comment. Alireza says this problem was your day just understated Iran. Was your day just no? We well, I don't know what you get that from, but underestimated Iran. No, that's not the case anyway. But yeah, if you feel it like that, but I don't know which conclusions or where do you draw these conclusions from because that's not really a Uruguay thing to do, to be honest. Um, Nando, last comment I will handle. Nando, our aim was quite a bit off. Hopefully, we can fix our issues before the World Cup. Countries like Portugal, South Korea, and Ghana will all present a bigger challenge over Iran. Well, different challenge. I wouldn't say bigger. I think South Korea and Ghana, yeah, different and maybe bigger. Who knows? But Iran is not a bad team. They're going to the World Cup. No, not a flashy team, but they are like dogged, a bit dogged, like a little bit pragmatic. And Portugal obviously is always a difficult team to face. But like I said, I'm positive still, even though we've lost this game, first loss of the Alonso era. But yeah, guys, we're gonna be okay. Okay, I will leave this stream and I will speak to you on Twitter in the upcoming days, upcoming hours probably. And then once the game against Canada comes, might do a preview, might go live before the day before, but I certainly will go live after the game. So I will see you then, and hopefully you are having a nice weekend. Okay, bye bye.